I pushed the loose brick back into the wall and brushed the dust off my hands. Then I turned and looked at my daughter-in-law. Her fancy Lululemon jacket was no longer so fancy. It was smeared with dirt from the basement floor. "Comfortable, Brittany?" I asked her. She just stared at me. No answer. 3 hours earlier, she and my son had locked my wife and me down here and walked away, figuring we would not make it out. My name is Harold Bennett. I am 67 years old. For 42 years, I have lived in the same old Victorian-style house in Burlington, Ontario. Every fall, I watch the maple trees outside my window turn red and gold. Every winter, I shovel the same front steps. Every spring, I fix the same loose fence board in the backyard. My wife, Margaret, and I raised our only son in that house. We believed we had built a good life. We believed we had raised a decent man. We were wrong about who he would become. It all started 6 months ago when Margaret had her stroke. She was outside in the garden, trimming the roses she planted the first summer after we moved in. I was inside rinsing dishes when I heard a sharp crash, like metal hitting stone. I ran out back and found her lying in the flower bed. The pruning shears were still clenched in her right hand. Her eyes were open, but something was not right. The ambulance came fast. At the hospital, a paramedic told me they had gotten her there in time. The damage was mostly on her left side. She would have weakness, maybe some trouble speaking, but she was lucky to be alive. She could still walk with a cane. She could still talk, though sometimes her words came out twisted and slow. But she was breathing. She came home to me. That was all that mattered. Our son, Andrew, saw things differently. Andrew is 39 years old. He works in pharmaceutical sales in Toronto. He drives a BMW that I know costs more than it should. He wears tailored suits that probably cost more than Margaret and I spend on groceries in a month. His wife, Brittany, is 34. She is the kind of woman who photographs her dinner before she eats it and posts it online for strangers to admire. They met at a networking event 5 years ago. Margaret never truly liked her, but she never said a bad word. That is the kind of woman my wife is. Is. Sometimes I still do not know which tense to use. After the stroke, Andrew started coming around more often. At first, I was grateful. He would bring takeout from expensive restaurants downtown. Thai food in sturdy containers that felt too nice to throw away. He asked about Margaret's therapy appointments. He asked about her medications. He asked if we needed help with anything. Brittany would drift through the house while we talked. She would run her fingers along the crown molding like she was inspecting it. She would comment on the original hardwood floors. She stood on the staircase landing and admired the stained glass window like she was already imagining it in a real estate listing. "These old homes are worth a fortune now," she said one afternoon. "If you ever decided to sell, the location alone could bring in at least $2 million. Maybe even more." I should have heard the warning in that sentence. I did not. The visits became more frequent. Andrew started bringing paperwork, insurance forms, medication authorizations, documents for power of attorney. "It is just a precaution, Dad," he told me. "If something happens and you cannot make decisions, someone needs to step in. Hospitals drown you in red tape. This just makes things easier." I signed some of the papers. Margaret, her hands shaking, signed others. Andrew always slid them neatly into his leather briefcase and promised to send copies for our records. Those copies never showed up. About 2 months later, the tone changed. Andrew began talking about assisted living facilities. "You are not getting any younger, Dad," he said one evening. "What if Mom has another stroke? What if you have a heart attack? Who is going to take care of you both?" He laid glossy brochures across our kitchen table. The pages showed smiling gray-haired couples playing cards in bright common rooms filled with sunshine. The cheapest place cost $8,000 a month. "We are fine here," I told him. "This is our home." "For now," Brittany said. She was standing by the bay window in the living room, staring out at the street like she already owned it. "But you have to be realistic, Harold. You are both in your late 60s. You need a plan." I am 67. Margaret is 65. That is not late 60s. That is barely there. But I let it slide. I should not have. I should have thrown them out that day. But he is my son. You do not want to believe your own child would ever turn against you. So you make excuses. You tell yourself you misunderstood. You give chances when you should not. Last month, Andrew showed up on a Tuesday afternoon. Brittany carried a box from Tim Hortons and set it on the kitchen table. She pulled out coffee cups and Timbits like we were about to have a friendly visit. "We need to talk," Andrew said. His voice was different. Harder. He sat across from me and opened his briefcase. I have been reviewing your finances, he said. You are not in good shape, Dad. Our finances are not your concern, I told him. They are when you sign power of attorney. He pulled out a document and tapped the bottom of the page. Margaret's shaky signature was right there. This gives me legal authority to manage your assets. I have gone through your accounts. You are overspending. The property taxes on this house are outrageous. You are bleeding money on maintenance. The furnace is 30 years old. The roof needs to be replaced. There are foundation problems. We can cover our bills, I said. For now, he replied. But what about next year? 5 years from now? You have maybe $200,000 in savings. That sounds like a lot until you factor in inflation, medical costs, long-term care. Mom's medications alone cost $1,500 every month. What happens when the money runs out? You will lose this house anyway. Only then you will be broke and desperate instead of making a smart move while you still can. Brittany reached across the table and laid her hand on Margaret's. My wife flinched. We are trying to help, Brittany said in a soft voice. Andrew and I have talked about this. We could buy the house from you. We would give you a fair price, even above market value. You would have plenty to move into a high-end assisted living community. Full-time nurses, physical therapy for Margaret, activities, social life. No more worrying about repairs or bills. And the house stays in the family. How much? Margaret asked. Her speech was slow, but clear. Andrew smiled. $900,000. I had it appraised. With all the repairs needed, that is generous. Something cold settled deep in my chest. I thought Brittany said this place was worth at least $2 million. That is potential value, Andrew said. If someone completely renovates it, that would cost at least another $500,000. As it stands, with all the issues, $900,000 is fair. Get out, I told him. His smile disappeared. Excuse me. Get out of my house. Both of you. Now. They left. But at the door, Andrew turned back. Think about it, Dad. That offer will not last forever. And believe me, you will need our help sooner than you think. 2 weeks went by. We heard nothing. Margaret's physical therapy was helping. She could move around the house without her cane most days, though she still kept it nearby. One Friday evening, we were eating leftover lasagna I had made earlier in the week when we heard the front door open. Dad, Andrew's voice echoed down the hallway. We are here. I stood up from the table. I did not invite you. He walked into the dining room with Brittany behind him. She was pulling a small suitcase. We are moving in, Andrew said. Temporarily. Our condominium flooded. A pipe burst. The place is destroyed. Insurance will cover it, but repairs will take weeks. We need somewhere to stay. There are hotels, Margaret said. Do not be ridiculous, Mom. We are family. He walked toward the staircase like he owned it. We will take my old room. Brittany, bring the bags upstairs. And just like that, they moved in. That night, I lay in bed listening to their footsteps above us. Doors opening and closing. Water running. Their voices low and secretive through the ceiling. Margaret squeezed my hand in the dark. Something is wrong, she whispered. I know, I said. The next morning, I went downstairs and found Andrew in my study. He was sitting at my desk with the filing cabinet drawers pulled open. Papers were scattered everywhere. Bank statements. Insurance policies. The deed to the house. What are you doing? I demanded. Straightening out your affairs, he said without looking up. Dad, this is a disaster. You have documents from 1983 mixed in with last year's tax returns. How do you find anything? That is private. Not anymore. Power of attorney, remember? I am legally responsible now. And honestly, it is worse than I thought. Your investments are terrible. You are losing money every month. I need to make some changes, I said, stepping toward the desk. I reached for the stack of papers Andrew had spread out. He shoved my hand away. Dad, stop. You are going to hurt yourself, he snapped. Those are my documents now. My responsibility. They are mine, I said. They belong to me and your mother. He ignored that. He scooped everything together, slid the papers into his briefcase, and snapped it shut. I am taking these to my lawyer, he said. We need to set up a proper trust. Get everything structured the right way. This is for your own good. Brittany appeared in the doorway, purse over her shoulder. Andrew, honey, I am heading to the grocery store. Do your parents need anything? They are fine, he said without even turning around. She left. About an hour later, she came back with reusable bags full of food. expensive organic vegetables, artisan bread, free-range chicken, fancy yogurt in little glass jars. She opened our refrigerator and started rearranging things, pushing aside the leftovers and the groceries I had bought earlier that week. "This is healthier for you," she said when Margaret tried to protest. "You need to watch your sodium intake, especially with your stroke history." That night, Brittany cooked the chicken with roasted vegetables. It tasted fine, maybe a little too salty, but fine. Margaret took a few bites and then pushed her plate away. "I am not hungry," she said softly. "Mom, you need to eat," Andrew said. "I am tired." She stood up slowly. She wobbled. I pushed back my chair to help her, but Brittany was already at her side. "I will take her upstairs," Brittany said, sliding an arm around Margaret's waist. I started to follow them. Andrew stepped in front of me. "Let Brittany handle it. Dad, you need to eat. You barely touched your food." "I am not hungry either." "Suit yourself." He picked up his phone and started scrolling like none of this meant anything. I sat there staring at him. He looked like my son. Same face. Same eyes. But there was something else there now. Something cold. That night Margaret slept badly. She tossed and turned. She mumbled words I could not make out. When I touched her forehead, it felt hot. In the morning she could barely sit up. "I feel strange," she whispered. "Dizzy. My head hurts." I reached for the phone to call our family doctor. Andrew stopped me. "I will call my doctor," he said. "Dr. Sanchez is excellent. She specializes in stroke recovery. She can do a house call. No need to drag Mom out." A young woman showed up that afternoon. Dark hair pulled tight into a bun. Sharp eyes. Professional smile. She stayed in the bedroom with Margaret for about 20 minutes while Andrew and Brittany waited downstairs. When she came out, her face was serious. "Your wife's blood pressure is extremely high," she said, "and her cognitive function has declined since her last assessment. I am concerned about early-stage dementia." "That is not possible," I said. "She was fine yesterday." "These conditions can progress quickly after a stroke," she replied calmly. "I am prescribing new medication. It should help stabilize her." She wrote on a prescription pad and handed it to Andrew. "Make sure she takes these twice a day, and I strongly recommend limiting visitors. She needs rest and minimal stimulation." Andrew walked her to the door. They spoke quietly. I could not hear what they said. When he came back, he held up the prescription. "I will pick this up tonight. In the meantime, Mom needs bed rest. No television. No reading. Nothing that might agitate her." "I want another opinion," I said. "From who?" "Dr. Sanchez is one of the top neurologists in the province." "Sure, call around. It will take 3 months to see anyone decent. Mom does not have that kind of time." He was right about the wait times. I called our family doctor anyway. Left a message. 2 days later, the receptionist called back. The earliest appointment was in mid-January. 3 months away. Margaret got worse. The new pills made her sleepy and confused. She would wake up and not know where she was. Sometimes she asked for her mother, who had been dead for 15 years. Andrew insisted we keep people away. When Margaret's sister called from Calgary, he told her mom was not up for phone calls. When our neighbor, Mrs. Wilson, brought over homemade soup, Brittany answered the door, took the container, and did not invite her inside. "Harold and Margaret need privacy right now," she said. "I am sure you understand." I tried to stop giving Margaret the pills. One afternoon, Andrew walked into the kitchen and caught me pouring them down the sink. "What the hell are you doing?" he shouted. "Those pills are making her worse. They are keeping her alive," he yelled. "Dad, you cannot even see what is happening. You are slipping too." He grabbed my shoulders and stared into my face. "When is the last time you showered? When did you change your clothes? Look at you. You are falling apart. Both of you are. This is exactly why you need help." For a second, I doubted myself. I could not remember the last time I shaved. The house felt smaller somehow, like the walls were closing in. The air felt thick. Brittany started bringing meals upstairs on a tray. Andrew stood there every time Margaret swallowed her pills. The days blurred together. October turned into November. The leaves outside our bedroom window turned brown and dropped from the trees. I watched them fall while Margaret slept most of the day. One Tuesday morning, Andrew walked into our bedroom, holding a stack of papers. "Dad, I need you to sign these." "What are they?" "Transfer documents. I am selling the house. We talked about this. It is time." "We never agreed to that." "You do not have a choice. Look at you. Look at Mom. You cannot take care of yourselves. I found a good facility in Mississauga. They have an opening next month. It is expensive, but you will afford it once the house sells. How much are you selling it for? $900,000. Same as before. You said it was worth $2 million. That was aspirational pricing, he said. The actual market is different. And once you factor in clearing out all your junk, repairs, staging, I will be lucky to break even. No. He let out a long sigh. I did not want to do this, he said, pulling out another document. This is a capacity assessment. Dr. Sanchez completed it last week. She determined that both you and Mom are no longer capable of making sound financial decisions. As your power of attorney, I am authorized to act on your behalf. Technically, I do not need your signature, but it would make things smoother. You cannot do this. I already have. The house goes on the market next week. You have 30 days to pack what you want. Leave the rest. He leaned down close to my face. And Dad, do not try anything stupid. If you fight me, I will have you both formally declared incompetent. You will spend the rest of your lives in a psychiatric ward. Is that what you want? Then he walked out. I sat on the edge of the bed. Margaret was asleep beside me, breathing shallow and uneven. 42 years of memories pressed down on me. This house, the place where we brought Andrew home from the hospital, where we celebrated birthdays and Christmas mornings, where Margaret planted roses in the yard, where I built my little workshop in the garage, where we grew old believing we were safe. That evening, after Brittany brought dinner and Andrew gave Margaret her pills, I heard them talking outside our bedroom door. How much longer? Brittany asked. Another week. Maybe 2, Andrew said. The old man is tougher than he looks, but he is cracking. Once we get them out, we can tear this place apart, renovate it, and flip it by spring. In this market, easy $2.5 million. And if he fights? He will not. I have everything covered. He signed power of attorney months ago. Did not even read the fine print. Legally, they are incompetent. It is airtight. Brittany laughed softly. Your dad really is an idiot. My dad is a sucker, Andrew said. There is a difference. I lay there in the dark, listening to my wife struggle to breathe, and I made a decision. I waited until midnight. The house was silent. I slipped out of bed carefully so I would not wake Margaret. I moved down the hallway and down the stairs. Andrew and Brittany's bedroom door was closed. I could hear him snoring. I walked to the basement door off the kitchen, the one that led to what we always called the cold room. It is the oldest part of the house. The original foundation from 1912. Stone walls, dirt floor in spots, low ceiling beams. When Andrew was a boy, Margaret used to can tomatoes every summer and store them down there on wooden shelves. We had not used it in years. I turned the handle slowly and eased the door open. The hinges gave a soft creak. I froze and listened. No movement from upstairs. I went into the kitchen and opened the junk drawer. I found the old flashlight we kept in there for power outages. I clicked it on, then headed for the basement door. The wooden steps creaked under my weight as I went down. They always had. At the bottom, I switched on the flashlight. The beam cut through thick dust and cobwebs that had been collecting for years. There was old furniture down there, covered in sheets. Boxes of Christmas decorations. The long wooden shelves where Margaret used to store her canned tomatoes were still bolted to the walls, but they were empty now. I walked to the far corner, where the stone wall met the foundation. I crouched down and found what I had been looking for. A loose brick. 3 rows up from the dirt floor. I discovered it 30 years ago when I had been fixing a leak in the foundation. The brick slid out easily. Behind it was a hollow space about 2 feet deep. Over the years, I had hidden things in there. Things I did not want anyone stumbling across. I reached inside and pulled out a small metal lockbox. The kind you can buy at a hardware store for $20. Inside that box was everything I had been quietly gathering for the last 6 months. Photocopies of the real power of attorney documents. The ones Margaret and I had signed with our actual lawyer before her stroke. The originals were safe in a safety deposit box at the bank. The documents Andrew had pushed in front of us later were not the same. They were altered, carefully rewritten to give him far more control than we had ever agreed to. I had proof. I also had recordings. In September, after things started to feel wrong, I bought a small digital recorder. I hid it in the living room behind a stack of old magazines. It captured hours of Andrew and Brittany talking when they thought we were asleep, or too medicated to understand. They talked about draining our accounts, about selling the house, about splitting the profits. They laughed about how easy it was to manipulate 2 old people. I had a recording of Brittany suggesting they speed things up by adjusting Margaret's medication. I had Andrew agreeing. I also had bank statements. I had noticed small withdrawals at first, then larger ones. $50,000 had been transferred into Andrew's personal account over the last 2 months, broken into smaller amounts so we would not notice right away. But I noticed. Every transfer was documented. And then there was Dr. Sanchez. Andrew had shown me a printed assessment claiming Margaret had dementia. It was fake. I had called Dr. Sanchez's office myself the week before, pretending to be Andrew. I told the receptionist I needed copies of Margaret's records for insurance purposes. She emailed everything. I went to the public library and printed the real report. Margaret did not have dementia. Her cognitive function was normal for someone recovering from a stroke. The confusion, the grogginess, the memory lapses, they were side effects. Side effects of medications Dr. Sanchez had never prescribed. I put everything back into the metal box, slid it into the hollow space, and replaced the brick. Then I went upstairs. Margaret was still asleep. I lay down beside her and stared at the ceiling for hours, putting the pieces together in my head. The next morning, Wednesday, Andrew walked into our bedroom at 7 o'clock sharp. "Get up," he said. "We are going for a drive." "Where?" I asked. "To see the facility in Mississauga. They want to meet you before move-in day. Come on, both of you. Get dressed." Margaret was groggy. She moved slowly. I helped her into her clothes and guided her down the stairs. Brittany was waiting by the front door with her purse over her shoulder. "This will be good for you," she said brightly. "You will see. It is a beautiful place. Much better than staying in this old house." We drove in Andrew's BMW. I sat in the back seat with Margaret, holding her hand. She kept asking where we were going. "Just a little outing," Brittany said, twisting around in her seat. "Nothing to worry about." The facility sat on a large property in Mississauga. Low buildings, bare trees, gray sky overhead. Inside, the air smelled like disinfectant and something sad. A woman in scrubs gave us a tour. Small rooms with hospital beds and thin curtains. Common areas where elderly men and women sat in wheelchairs staring at a television mounted high on the wall. A dining hall serving pureed food on plastic trays. When the tour ended, Andrew looked at me. "Well, what do you think?" "I think I would rather die," I said. He laughed like I had told a joke. "Dad, you are being dramatic. This is one of the top facilities in the province. You will have round-the-clock care, activities, social opportunities. It is better than being isolated in that house." "I want to go home," Margaret said softly. "This will be home soon enough," Andrew replied. He signed paperwork at the front desk. The woman in scrubs smiled at him. "We will have everything ready by December 1st, she said. 3 weeks from now." We drove back to Burlington. On the way home, Andrew and Brittany talked excitedly about renovation plans. Knocking down walls, modernizing the kitchen, installing quartz countertops. Brittany wanted a deep soaking tub in the master bathroom. Andrew talked about converting my garage workshop into a home gym. Margaret squeezed my hand. I squeezed back. That night, after the house was quiet, I went back to the basement. I removed the metal box and brought it upstairs to our bedroom. I woke Margaret gently. "I need you to listen to me," I whispered. "Can you focus?" She nodded. I told her everything. I showed her the real documents. The forged ones. The bank statements. The printed medical report. I played the recordings at the lowest volume, so only she could hear. As I spoke, I watched her eyes. The fog seemed to lift. Her face sharpened. "That son of a," she said clearly. No slur. No hesitation. "I know," I said. I knew something was wrong. "I have a plan," I told her. "But you have to trust me. And you have to keep pretending. Keep acting confused. Can you do that?" Her jaw tightened. "What are we going to do?" "We are going to let them think they have won," I said. "And then we are going to bury them." The next 2 weeks were the hardest weeks of my life. I had to watch my wife pretend to be lost and helpless while our son stripped our house bare. They hired movers. 42 years of memories disappeared into boxes. They did not ask what mattered. They did not care. Brittany went through Margaret's jewelry one afternoon. She held up Margaret's grandmother's pearl necklace. "This is beautiful," she said. "I might keep it." "That is not yours," I said. "It will be," she replied, and slipped it into her purse. Andrew sold our car. Said we would not need it at the facility. He emptied our accounts and transferred everything into one under his name. "For safekeeping," he said. "I will manage your finances from now on." He called Margaret's sister in Calgary and told her that Margaret had taken a turn for the worse and was not accepting calls. He told the neighbors we were moving closer to family in Toronto. He changed our phone number, canceled the internet, cut us off from everyone. All the while, the metal box stayed hidden under our bed. I was waiting. November 28th. 2 days before we were supposed to move. That was when Andrew said he wanted to show us something. One last walk through, he said. Before renovations start. We walked through rooms that no longer felt like ours. The furniture was gone. The walls were bare where family photos once hung. The kitchen was stripped. Margaret's dishes, her pots and pans, all gone. Brittany walked beside us in tight yoga pants and a soft cashmere sweater, already acting like the lady of the house. We are thinking open concept, Andrew said, pointing at the wall between the kitchen and dining room. Knock this down. Big island. Modern appliances. Quartz countertops. That sounds expensive, I said. You have no idea what this place will be worth, he replied. 2.5. Maybe 3 million once we are done. Best investment I ever made. You stole it, I said. He stopped walking. Excuse me. You stole our house. You forged documents. You drained our accounts. You drugged your own mother. All for a quick profit. Brittany laughed. Wow. The dementia is really progressing, huh? I do not have dementia, I said evenly. And neither does Margaret. Margaret stepped forward. When she spoke, her voice was strong and steady. No slur at all. We have been playing you, Andrew. For 2 weeks, we let you believe you had won. We let you pack our things. Let you sell our car. Let you move money around. And the entire time, we were collecting evidence. The color drained from his face. What are you talking about, he said. I reached under my coat and pulled out the metal box. Andrew's eyes locked onto it right away. I opened it slowly and turned it so he could see inside. Papers, printed emails, bank statements, a small digital recorder. I have been documenting everything, I said. My voice was calm, steady. Every conversation, every forged signature, every unauthorized withdrawal. Andrew's face went pale. I have proof of elder abuse, financial exploitation, fraud, identity theft, I continued. And I have your partner on tape admitting exactly what you both did. Brittany blinked. Dr. Sanchez? She asked quickly. She had no idea what you were doing, I said. I contacted her directly last month. I got Margaret's real medical records. There is no dementia, no cognitive decline. Just a woman recovering from a stroke who was being drugged by her own son. Andrew lunged toward the box. I stepped back. I made copies, I said. Everything is backed up in 3 different locations. And tomorrow morning, all of it goes to the police. You cannot prove anything, Andrew said. But his voice shook. I can prove all of it. Forensic accountants will trace every dollar you stole. Audio experts will confirm the recordings are authentic. A handwriting specialist will verify that you forged our signatures. And Dr. Sanchez will testify that the medications you gave your mother were never prescribed. I looked him straight in the eyes. You are going to prison, Andrew. Both of you. Brittany turned like she was about to run. Margaret stepped in front of her. Where do you think you are going? She said. This is insane, Brittany snapped. You are both crazy. That is what we will tell everyone. 2 senile old people making up stories because they are confused. Margaret did not flinch. We had a full psychiatric evaluation done last week, she said, by an independent assessor. While you thought we were at the grocery store, we are of sound mind, competent to testify, competent to press charges. Andrew slowly sank down onto the bare dining room floor and put his head in his hands. Dad, please, he said. I am your son. You stopped being my son the day you decided I was worth more to you dead than alive. He started crying. Real tears. I am sorry. God, I am so sorry. We needed money. The condominium really did flood. Insurance did not cover everything. I have debts. Credit cards maxed out. The BMW payment is crushing me. I did not know what else to do. You could have asked for help, I said. You could have been honest. Instead, he chose to drug his mother, to steal from us, to try to lock us away so he could live in our house and spend our money. I will pay it back, he said desperately. Every cent. I will get another job. I will work overtime. Whatever it takes. Just please do not call the police. Please, Dad. I will lose everything. You already did, I told him. The police arrived at 8 o'clock the next morning. Margaret and I had walked out of our house the night before and gone next door to Mrs. Wilson's place. She gave us tea and let us use her phone. She had suspected something was wrong for weeks, but did not want to interfere. I should have said something sooner, she kept saying. You are helping now, Margaret told her. When the officers pulled into our driveway, the neighbors came outside. Andrew did not resist. Brittany screamed that we were lying. She threatened to sue us. Said her lawyer would ruin us in court. The officers placed both of them in the back of separate cruisers and drove away. The investigation took 3 months. Forensic accountants confirmed that Andrew had stolen $78,000 from our accounts. Audio specialists verified the recordings. Dr. Sanchez testified that the medications Andrew gave Margaret were not only unprescribed, but dangerous given her medical condition. A handwriting expert confirmed that Andrew forged multiple documents, including the altered power of attorney and the house sale paperwork. In February, both Andrew and Brittany pleaded guilty to multiple charges: elder abuse, fraud, identity theft, criminal negligence. Andrew was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Brittany received 3.5. Their attorney asked for house arrest, community service, leniency. The judge refused. You targeted your own parents, she said to Andrew. 2 people who loved you, trusted you, and raised you. You exploited their vulnerability, interfered with medical care, and attempted to strip them of their home and dignity. This court finds no basis for mercy. Margaret and I sat in the gallery holding hands. When they led Andrew away in handcuffs, he looked back at me. I did not look away. I wanted him to understand exactly what he had thrown away. The house is ours again. All fraudulent paperwork has been voided. The forged documents declared invalid. The bank returned the stolen funds with interest. We changed the locks, installed a full security system. Everything is now secured in an ironclad trust managed by our real lawyer, Sarah Wilson, who happens to be Mrs. Wilson's daughter. No one will ever take this house from us again. Once we stopped the medications Andrew had been giving her, Margaret improved quickly. Her speech is clear now. She walks without a cane. Last week, she planted new roses in the garden. Red this time, instead of pink. We have Mrs. Wilson over for dinner every week. She brings her homemade dumplings. We talk. We laugh. We share stories. Sometimes people ask if I regret reporting my own son. The answer is no. Not for 1 second. What Andrew did was not a mistake. It was not a brief lapse in judgment. It was a deliberate plan to exploit his parents for money. He made his choices. Now he lives with the consequences. There is a lesson in all this, one I wish I had understood sooner. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When your instincts tell you something is wrong, trust them. Do not excuse warning signs just because the person waving them is someone you love. If you ever find yourself in a situation like ours, remember this: you are not powerless. Document everything. Keep records. Photograph documents. Make recordings where it is legal. Store copies in multiple places. Stay connected to people outside your immediate household. Never sign paperwork without reading it carefully. And always have your own independent lawyer review anything involving your assets or medical decisions. Elder abuse is more common than most people think. Sometimes it is strangers. Sometimes it is caregivers. And sometimes it is family. It happens quietly, behind closed doors, to people who never imagined their own child could betray them. If you see signs, speak up. If you suspect someone is being manipulated or exploited, call Adult Protective Services. Contact the police. Talk to their doctor. Do something, because victims are often ashamed, or confused, or afraid. Margaret is 65. I am 67. We still have good years ahead of us. We plan to spend them right here, in this house, the one where we built our lives, the one we almost lost. With Sarah's help, we started a foundation to support seniors facing abuse. It is called the Second Chance Trust. We want others to have the opportunity we had, the chance to fight back. Andrew writes to us from prison sometimes. Long letters about regret, about change, about how he wants to make things right someday. We do not respond. There is nothing left to say. You only get so many chances to choose the right path. He used all of his. This house is worth millions now, according to real estate agents. They talk about location, craftsmanship, historic charm, but its real value is not measured in dollars. It is measured in the life we built here. The memories, the love, the years. That cannot be bought. It cannot be sold. And it cannot be stolen. In the end, the greatest wealth anyone can have is not money or property. It is love. It is trust. It is dignity. It is knowing that when the moment came, You stood up for yourself. Andrew lost those things. Margaret and I kept them. And I would say we came out ahead.